When children are little, they try to figure out the world around them by asking us very incessant questions, right? The why, right? It's time for bed. Why? Eat your carrots. Why? Right? And then other kind of whys as well. You know, why is the ocean so big? Why can't we see across it? Why do the waves never cease? Questions are how we make sense of our reality. Claire, though, she didn't always ask me very many why questions. She asked me a lot of what if questions. And it would go something like, I'd like to have somebody over for a play date. And so that's great. What if she says no? Well, we'll find a new date. Well, what if she doesn't want to be my friend anymore? Well, then we'll ask somebody else. And what if she doesn't want to be my friend? Or what if she doesn't want to come over? Or what if it rains? Or what if we get bored? Or what ifs are questions really about our control of life and trying to figure out and make sense of and make plans for all those contingencies. And I really find that children and even our youth group, they tend to do that. It could be a delay technique, not to do whatever it is that I'm asking them. But I also think that what ifs are how we wrestle with the doubts that we have in life. In this morning's gospel passage, we have both John the Baptizer and his disciples wrestling with what if questions. And essentially, they're coming to Jesus and they're saying, what if John doesn't get out of prison? Who's going to continue his ministry and his protest and his proclamation? What if John is killed by Herod? What's going to happen next? What if Jesus is the Messiah? When is the Messiah going to overthrow Rome and get rid of them? What if Jesus isn't the Messiah? What does that mean? Who are we supposed to be waiting for? And again, John's disciples are really just trying to make sense of their reality in a world that is fairly chaotic, and it's often what we do. We want certainty, and we want truth, and we want to know what the plan is. That makes us feel a lot better. Jesus does a very Jesus-y thing. He doesn't answer those questions directly, right? They say, are you the Messiah? And he's like, well, go tell John what I'm doing, right? He doesn't say, yes, I am the Messiah. He says, basically the Isaiah reading, the blind are now seeing. The deaf have received their hearing back. The lame are dancing and leaping for joy, right? Abundance and community and healing and restoration are happening in people's lives. And that's the only answer we get, right? Not something that's direct, but an experience of what the kingdom of God means in people's lives. And then Jesus does what he always loves to do, which is actually ask us questions back. And so he says to the crowd around him, what is it that you're waiting for? What are the signs that you need to see? When you went out, when John was baptizing in the wilderness at the river's edge, why did you go out there? What were you trying to see? Did you expect that this prophet would be wearing white robes or purple velvet? That's not what prophets are. Kings, the powerful, the elite, wear soft clothes and stay in the cities. What did you expect to find out there in the wilderness with John? So Jesus is reminding the crowd of these two ways of being, of these two ways of experiencing God in life. There's the way of the religious, the elite, the powerful, the political, and all of the oppression that they enact on God's people. And then there's the way of John, who stands counter to all of that. John started a movement that initiated significant changes in people's lives, that transformed them. They came to John wanting to know what they need to do here and now to make God present in their lives. Because they were longing and hungry and they had questions. And John said, do you have a lot of food? Do you have enough food? Do you have more than enough food? Share it. Do you have clothes? Do you have 3 jackets in your closet? Do you have 6 jackets in your closet? Like me? Share them, right? They came hungry and questioning to John, and John said that the way that we move through the sins in the world, the way the world is ordered that draws us away from God's kingdom and God's vision for us, the way that we move into that is by helping those around us, by being the ones to change the world around us, by being the people to make God's vision a reality. And for that, John was put in prison and then later beheaded. Columbia theologian Raj Nadella writes, both Jesus and John have been engaged in extraordinary ministry and called people's attention to unjust political and social structures, leading to confrontation with people in power. But more importantly, this passage is about having the courage to speak and report what one sees. Truth, in whatever form it occurs, has the capacity to bring about change and transformation in society, but truth depends on reliable messengers. Truth depends on reliable messengers so that truth can be passed on from one location to another, from one generation to the next. The question for us is not whether John's disciples will be reliable messengers of Jesus' messiahship and ministry. The question is whether we will be reliable messengers of Jesus' truth. And what are we to be messengers of? What are the words that we can use? What's the message and the vision that we're trying to share? It's Mary's protest song that we said in place of a psalm this morning, the Magnificat. This wonderful, powerful, revolutionary vision that Mary has, that one woman shares with another woman, that 2 pregnant women share and experience together, right? My soul magnifies the Lord. He lifts up the lowly and sends the rich away empty. And I'm guessing that Mary sang this song not once to her cousin Elizabeth, but repeatedly, that it was a song that was within her. It was how she knew God to be powerfully active in her life. I imagine that she sang it to her infant while she was nursing Jesus. That she sang it as a lullaby to Jesus as a little child as she tucked him in at night. These powerful things that God has done, these powerful things that Jesus will help us do. The other thing about Mary's song that's interesting is she doesn't say, God will lift up the lowly in some like wonderful future day in heaven sometime, or the hungry will be fed with good things in some wonderful, magical, mystical time. Mary says that God has done these things, that God is doing these things, that they're being done right now. And they're being done right now because of us. Because this is the message that we share, and this is the actions that we need to lean into. And I think now more than ever is our world longing for Mary's song to be made a reality.